Segment 2, Gold&Black Live, and we are on our first show of the new year, and we'll be with you every Friday through March 23rd. But there may be a couple days, depending on if the Purdue men. Right now, if the Purdue men make it to Friday of course, everything seems bad with the men's basketball team. If they make it to Friday in the Big Ten tournament, we won't go head-to-head with that. But anyway, we do look forward to a lot of football, basketball, and baseball discussion. Though Josh can hold his own with on any sport, I'm sure, in terms of offering his opinion. But joining us, Josh Lindblom on the 40-man roster with the LA Dodgers, a Boilermaker. The pitcher started, and of course, we were marveling about the fact that we'll get into how many Major League level baseball players have come from not only Harrison High School, but also Tippecanoe County. It's an amazing number. And we will look forward to getting into all those topics. But welcome, Josh.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Well, you may not say that in 20 minutes. But
we'll see about it.
We're glad you're here. And of course, Josh also has some philanthropic activities going on too that we'll be talking about as well. But all right, you're at January 6th. You don't report till, you said February 21st or February 22nd. So you're just kind of sleeping till noon and not doing anything else.
That's what everybody thinks that baseball players do. Sleep till noon. But I'm usually up about 6:30, 6:45 every morning. Go work out. I've been working out over at Purdue and then Harrison over break. And that's 2.5, 3 hour workout. And then now that I'm starting to throw, it's a lot longer. And then the rest of the day is spent with the foundation stuff. So I'm eating up gas, running around town, and I haven't realized how bad traffic's gotten here. Being gone, think LA, the traffic is a lot worse. I never thought I'd complain about traffic again, but it's gotten pretty bad here.
Yeah. I'm a Harrison alum as well. I'm not sure how I didn't make the cut like everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, you've got your own TV show now.
Yeah. That pays.
There you go.
Pays comparable.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah.
Well, last year had to be quite a thrill
Yeah.
for you, I would imagine. Getting called up, a couple months into the season and jumping back and forth between there and the minors. Just what was it like to be in the bigs finally?
It kind of all accumulated throughout the course of being in the minor leagues. Signing in 2008, but that 2010 season was a rough season. I go to Albuquerque, high hopes, almost make the team out of spring training, and then have a really bad year statistically. Had to fight through some different mechanical issues, and I wouldn't call it a lost season, but I mean it was tough for sure. The first time I'd really failed to that magnitude, I guess you'd say, and then coming back that off season before I got called up, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise. We're just working hard and refocusing what my goal was, which was to pitch in the big leagues, and then stepping on the mound at Dodger Stadium for the first time. Still get goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah. I got goosebumps just thinking about that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at opportunity, and you're young, but yet you worry about opportunity only comes its way so many times. So you have a window to prove yourself. But what has the organization said to you, and where do they see you on their timeline?
Our entire team. You look at guys like Clayton Kershaw, Matt Kemp, James Loney, Andre Ethier, all these guys. Chad Billingsley. They're all young. And then our bullpen, everyone except for 2 guys, I think, are under the age of 25 years old. So, Dodger fans have a lot to be excited about in the near future, with the ownership stuff getting figured out. It's just an exciting time. You look at what we did last year in the second half after the All-Star break, and I think we were the 3rd or 4th best record in all of baseball. I think the Brewers and Phillies were the only teams that had better records than we did. So, definitely something to be excited about.
When you're a young guy playing at the level you're playing, you probably always feel like you have to be on it, be improving, right? Be working out at 6:30 in the morning, because I've talked to some guys who have, they've had a cup of tea in the bigs, and they said, looking back now, I sort of felt like, once I got there, I was always going to be there, and that's just not always the case, right?
Yeah, so that's not the case, at all, because every year there's a draft where 1,500 kids are drafted to major league teams. Some of those kids don't sign, some of them end up playing, but there's that flow always coming in. So you always have someone on your tail. You always have somebody trying to take your job. There's only in the bullpen there's 7 guys hopefully in the bullpen, 30 teams. So there's 210 bullpen spots. So you've got to be one of the best 210 relievers in the world nowadays. And it's the competition is just you always have to work, like you said. You always have to get better, whether that's watching film, ironing out mechanical stuff, you know, all that stuff.
You don't want to do the numbers thing though, because if you think about that,
Yeah.
you can't conceptually. It doesn't make any sense. I mean,
yeah, it really doesn't. You know, it doesn't.
It's you've basically won the lottery. You've earned your way to win the lottery. I'm not saying that, but it is almost akin.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you look at, you know, over the course of history, how many people have, you know, played, gotten a chance and an opportunity to play in the big leagues. You know, you're part of a fraternity that it's a special thing to be. You know, that's something I can always tell my kids and my grandkids is that, you know, I got to face Albert Pujols. I got to face, you know, Joey Votto, guys that, you know, probably are going to be Hall of Famers. So it's an awesome experience, and you don't take any second for granted.
And now you're sharing the town with Albert, right?
Yep.
You and him are the headliners.
He's at the South End a little bit.
But everyone has to remember there's only one team in Los Angeles, and that's the Dodgers. They're out in Anaheim. That's 40 minutes away, but you know, the Dodgers are the only team in LA.
Yeah, they need to be reminded of that. But there is no place like Dodger Stadium, and I think that is absolutely true. We have some questions for Josh. You had the chance, and this is this is one thing great about this show. You don't have to give your name or even anything close. But Evan S. Chavez asked, I wonder who that would be. How is it meeting Dodger great Sandy Koufax and the other Dodger legends?
Mr. Koufax actually came to spring training a few years ago, and I'm throwing a bullpen, and I hear somebody talking to me, and you know, hey, you know, spin that curveball a little more. You got a really good curveball. And I turn around, I'm like, who is this guy? I turn around, and Sandy Koufax sitting behind me. But you know, Don Newcomb, Maury Wills, Sweet Lou Johnson. You know, I got an opportunity to meet Duke Snider before he passed away. And you know, you think of all these names that are synonymous with baseball. You know, the song you hear at stadiums. You know, Mickey and the Duke. I mean, he had a song written about him. So you know, Dodger. You know, being around those guys and, you know, getting their insight and their input is awesome experience.
And Koufax isn't a big guy, right?
No,
you know, I mean, I started watching baseball right when he retired in '66 or so, but he's not. He's like 5'11" or 6
Not
foot.
a big guy, but his hands are huge. Holding a baseball in his hands, I mean, everyone always talks about how you could always, when he threw his curveball, you could hear the seams coming. And I'll tell you what, it's no surprise because that baseball looks like a golf ball in his hands.
Yeah, no question.
How much do you keep up with the ownership
deal? You know, a little bit. You know, MLB trade rumors. You know, ESPN. It's always there's something in the news every day about, you know, Dodger ownership, and you know, the most important thing is that the fans are happy.
Right.
You know, we had a couple sellouts last year, and when Dodger fans packed the stadium there at Chavez Ravine, there's nothing like it. You know, 55,000 people in that stadium. It gets rocking, and you know, hopefully this year we can get some big crowds in there and get a NL West championship. Yeah,
and having to deal with the incident with the Giants and all the stuff early in the year, you know, it is a baseball town. And you know, you talk about it in the NFL and Los Angeles and the fact that it's not there. You know, baseball in Los Angeles. I mean, old timers. Yeah, I know it came from Brooklyn, but this is a true baseball town. They love their baseball.
Yeah, they love their baseball. You know, like the question earlier. You know, all the Dodger greats still hang around. You know. And it shows you the kind of organization it is that, you know, former players are wanting to, you know, put a bid and, you know, purchase a team. You know, Garvey, Hershiser, those guys.
Joe Torre's in the mix now.
Joe Torre's in the mix now. So, you know, it shows you the history of the franchise. You know, they might not have as many World Series as, you know, the Yankees do, but it's still one of the greatest organizations, and if not the greatest organization. You know, the things that they've done in baseball and even in the world are amazing.
Yeah, no question. Question from Cheesy Beef asks, that isn't Dr. Will out there, I don't think. I don't think he's going to do that. But
you get a lot of questions in LA from Cheesy Beef.
Yeah. I've never met him before. Hopefully I can run into him.
I hope so too. For your sake, it would just make your life perfect. How is Purdue perceived out in LA? Respect? Question mark? Not? Question mark? Big Ten in general in LA. I know it's USC and all that stuff going out there, but how does the Big Ten and maybe even does Purdue even show up on the radar screen out there?
The first thing with Purdue that when I get out the West Coast is they all think academics.
Good.
It's like the Harvard of like,
I don't ever want to mess with that rumor.
It's like Purdue's such a great school, but I mean, you look at, you know, the guys that have come out of it athletically. You know, everybody wants to knock the Big Ten. You know, I played Big Ten. You know, Big Ten can compete. You know, you watch the bowl games and you watch. You know, basketball and, you know, Big Ten ACC Challenge. You know, I think we whooped up on the ACC this year, and I mean, they just don't get, you know, enough of the games out there. You know, it's all USC, UCLA. So I've got to stick up for Purdue every year in our March Madness pools we have. I'm always drawing Purdue, and so.
And that can be a blessing and a scourge.
Yeah.
But
Let's talk about your experience as a baseball player here, because you took a somewhat interesting path going down to Tennessee, and then coming back home to play at Purdue. Just you have to feel like it was the right move, because it has turned out the best.
Yeah, it really has. Tennessee was an awesome experience. Being able to be in the SEC and pitch in that conference. Playing against guys that are in the big leagues now and teammates that are in the big leagues. But maturity-wise, coming back, I was a young kid. I was 17 when I graduated. And I really think I needed, instead of signing out of high school, I really needed those 3 extra years to mature. What Purdue baseball did for me was unbelievable. Coach Schreiber, Coach Sailors, and Coach Duncan's there now, but Coach Murphy was there. He's now gone. But what that organization, what Purdue did for me was, not only baseball-wise, but academically and everything. It was just a total package. And going in now, it truly is a blessing that I was able to come back to my hometown and,
Is it interesting to see what that program has developed a little bit since you left? Even it's only been a few years, with the new facility. And I think they've gone to the Big Ten tournament now 3 or 4 years in a row.
I think,
and one of the most successful, if you look at over the last 10 to 12 years, teams in the Big Ten, although they haven't got that carrot of going to a regional yet. But
the
just
trouble,
the development that they've made.
Now with that uniform start date in college, it's a little easier. But I remember my junior year, Coach Schreiber always loads up the non-conference schedule. The first 15 games we played were against top 10 opponents. I remember we lost, like 5 or 6 one-run games to these teams, and we ended up starting the year. I think it was like 2-13. Instead of we could have been down on ourselves, but we come back and we're in the Big Ten championship game against Michigan, and they beat us by 1 run. And Big Ten, you've got to win that tournament to get to a regional, and it's tough. But my junior year, you're 1 game away from going to a regional, and they've been close, every year since then. So they're, and we were saying the new stadium's unbelievable. So hopefully that'll get some more recruits in here. And
talk about growing up in Tippecanoe County, and in fact, your progression to baseball. You obviously, at your size, could do other things, but did you know at age 6 this is what you wanted to do? Or talk about how you evolved into what you're doing now.
Not at age 6. I mean, I kind of did everything. Always. I did basketball, football. Coaches were knocking on the door wanting to play football and basketball in high school, but I was big, slow, and couldn't jump, and so I figured that baseball might have been my best bet, and it turned out all right. But sometimes looking back, I wish I would have played football or basketball in high school, just because all my friends did, and it would have been fun. I still play basketball for conditioning, so I like to think I'd have been that good back then, but who knows? I might have probably gotten dominated out on the court.
Has it changed for kids today, though, in terms of the path to elite level play? Are you one that recommends kids that are playing, need to be doing the travel thing at 8 and 9, or do you think and playing 70, 80 games a year? How do you view that? When you have a son or a daughter that compete someday in this, how would you advise them?
I would say play everything while you can. I mean, because you don't want to look back and have the regret like I do of wondering if I could have been good at basketball or football or whatever it might be. Obviously, my scenario is a little different because now I'm being able to compete and play at the highest level, but that might not be the case for everybody. So I was blessed with an ability to throw a baseball, and it's worked out. But I would just say play everything, because you never know what road it's going to take you down.
So what are your prospects for this year? I mean, you're on the 40-man, but you still got to make the
still have to make the team.
Feeling pretty good about your opportunity?
Yeah, I feel good about the opportunity to go pitch in the big leagues this year again. Hopefully make the team in a spring training. Just go in and I don't really have my mind set going to spring training and making the team. Obviously that's a goal that you want, but that's still, once spring training starts, that's still a month away until they announce the teams. A little more than that, but. Just go and get better every day because, you're not going to be in, mid-season form in February. But, just go get better every day, work hard, and, let it take care of itself.
How long does it take you, once you start throwing, in a practice environment? Is it a week? Is it 10 days? Is it really not till May till you really feel like you're, where you want to be with throwing the baseball?
Yeah, well, arm strength-wise, it's usually pretty quick. I start throwing a little early. Usually the week or 2 before Thanksgiving. I only take about 5 weeks off of throwing. So I start throwing, and then I'm in a long toss program right now. But yeah, usually, I mean, the biggest thing I notice is the command, because arm strength will be there. It's just a matter of fine-tuning the command, because you haven't practiced that really in the off season. But it really doesn't take too long for me. Especially being a reliever, I'm probably only going to throw 1 or 2 innings max, and hopefully those innings are quick innings, and I'm not out there getting rocked off the wall. And
right.
Yeah.
Nothing more lonely.
Nothing you won't be in there 2 innings.
You won't be there. Yeah, well, you might be, depending on the score, and just kind of leave you out there to get feasted on. So.
Yeah. Are you a pitch count guy? I mean, there's so much talk about that. The guys that used to the starters that used to throw 300 innings and didn't leave any room for you guys to get much chance coming out of the bullpen. But is that overdone, or is that I mean, and tell us a little bit who may not know how they work pitch counts for relievers as well.
Relievers, it really doesn't
come into play.
It doesn't really come into play because most of the time it's 1 hitter, 1 inning.
Yeah.
Somewhere along those lines. Pitch count there, depending on the pitcher, it really doesn't affect a lot of them. Early in the season, maybe but once you start getting into July and August, I mean, they just let them go if they feel good and they're dominant. Clayton Kershaw, had 3 or 4 games last year where he was at 120, 130 pitches, but if he's still going strong, and you aren't going to take Cy Young out and in the 8th when he's going for a shutout. So.
There are some managers that will,
yeah.
But you're right.
And the trust factor, like you're saying, and the manager too has a lot. The trust factor with the pitcher, knowing that is a lot. That plays in a lot too.
As a Cubs fan, I know about taking pitchers out early and ruining entire divisional playoffs.
Yeah, that happens.
Steve Bartman.
Yeah,
Lou took out Carlos Zambrano too a couple years back.
It wasn't good. One of the great blessings, at least this community gets, is the fact when you have elite level and major league level athletes here is getting involved with the community, and you're obviously involved with the foundation, have a big event coming up, and the fact that to talk a little bit about that and what you're trying to get done and what you're trying to give back to a community that obviously has meant a lot to you.
Yeah, this community, people probably don't realize it, but that I've crossed paths with growing up here. Went to Harrison, came back, went to Purdue, and we live here in the off season, my wife and I. So, we're involved a lot with the Children's Hospital out in Los Angeles, and I was blessed with a gift, not just to go on a baseball field and perform, but to use that to help others. I mean, I think it's the most important thing for us. We're sitting in LA and thought, what a cool idea to bring it back here in our community and help some of the kids because I remember growing up playing that some kids might not have their parents might not have been able to get them to the game, so they couldn't play or they couldn't afford it, things like that. But they still have the same dreams that I did, and to be able to provide them with those dreams at a young age, to realize their potential and just help them along the way and encourage them to maybe reach where I am now and where they wouldn't have that opportunity otherwise.
And you're involved with the backpack program, an event on January 21st. Tell us a little bit about that.
Backpack program in Tippecanoe County, a lot of people probably don't know about it, but on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, we go pack the backpacks at Miller and Miami elementary schools. They're at over 100 at each school, kids that they send backpacks home with them with food in them for the weekends that the parents can't afford to feed them on the weekends.
Is this through Food Finders?
This is through Food Finders, yeah. And there's only, I think, 1 school in Tippecanoe County that's not involved in the backpack program. So, that the first event, we're going to help fill those backpacks with the food. And we've got the backpack challenge with all the high schools. So take your backpacks, gently used, to the high schools, and we're going to make a donation to the high school, the winner, to the charity of their choice. But, it's just a neat way to bring the community together. And it truly is going to be a community effort. We're putting our name on this foundation, my wife and I, and we want it to be personal relationship. We don't want, have the Josh Lindblom Foundation and, you come to me and you deal with, Bob and Sue, at marketing or whatever. I want you to be able to come to me and contact me and say, what, Josh, we need help with, whatever it might be. And just have that openness within the community because this community is so important to us.
Yeah. Talk about the specifics of the event though on the 21st and how people can be involved.
January 21st at 6:30 Lafayette Theater. Just go to our website at joshlindblom.com, and the information's on there. Shoot us an email if you guys want to come. We've got some different silent auction items that are available. Orlando down at Bruno's donated a signed Drew Brees, Lynn Dawson, Bob Greasy picture. And some other, there's going to be some Drew Brees stuff, Ryan Kerrigan, Dodger stuff. Clayton Kershaw signed some game cleats for me. Tommy Lasorda is going to be sending some stuff. So we've got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be able to help raise money and fill these backpacks. It's only $180 a year to feed one child throughout the whole year, $5 a week. Yeah. So I think that people don't realize, how easy it is to help out with a program like this. And two, actually, you see the kids, and we've built a relationship with them now going, since we've been back, and it's definitely a fun thing. And you can contact Food Finders about, your local school to get involved in that.
Well, and the thing that it's all. This is Tippecanoe County, and you don't think this exists here. It exists here,
yeah.
and it's an issue. I'll cut you off again, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when you're trying to find an avenue to help in, when you're starting up a foundation like that, just what are some of the things that you consider? Because there's just a huge, wide range of things you could do.
A lot of time on Google, a lot of time. But the biggest thing for us is actually going out and seeing what the program's all about.
Right.
We went to Food Finders before, talked with them about the program. They said, why don't you come and pack backpacks one day? So we were like, all right, let's try it out. And then that turned into, over at Miller, going and packing the backpacks. And then yesterday we showed up and we thought there was backpacks, but there weren't any because of the short week. Yeah. So we went around to the different classrooms and, talked to some of the kids and see how their days are going, how their Christmases went. And it's, building a relationship with the people is the most fun part. Yeah. You don't know there's a need until you actually get out there and, kind of get your hands dirty, and it's been fun, a lot of fun.
Well, it is. It's called making a difference, and the kids do respond to the personal touch. Yeah, they know Josh Lindblom's doing big things on the baseball field, but the fact that you bring it home to them. So to speak,
and there's a little girl at Miami that every day I come in, or she comes in. She walks right to my wife and I, and she gives us both a hug and thanks us. Yeah. And you don't realize how big of a difference it makes with those kids. It's really neat.
And it does. It absolutely does. But we'll have some information, too, on that site. In fact, we would even donate a couple items to that event
awesome.
If we can, because, Gold&Black.com has some value from time to time. So,
of course it does.
We had a question I wanted to get back to. Did Purdue get any input from former players on the new baseball stadium? And the facility upgrade has to be, we talked about the boost for program and recruiting, but what do you know about it? I mean, and obviously we've all looked at the plans, and Kyle does the games as well. It's just an exciting to be able to play in that type of venue. But did you have any look-see, any private look-see before it all came to pass? And I know you were doing other things, too.
A few years ago, they actually had the plans in place. They weren't able to, start it while I was here, but, we saw the plans, and, Coach Schreiber, kind of asked us because, we were sharing a locker room down underneath Mackey with, track and wrestling and all these other, and a lot of the other programs. And now they're, they're moving us out. And the best thing about baseball for me is the camaraderie and the friendships. Yeah. Being able to spend time in the clubhouse and, hang out with your friends. And because whether you like it or not, you're with these guys for 7 months out of the year, so you better get to like them. But the friends that I've made through baseball are unbelievable. My best friends in the world are guys that I've played with. So
that's the part of the fun of it. Well, again, January 21st, you can go to joshlindblom.com, and it's Lindblom, not two O's, and I probably screwed that up in Gold&Black at least a half dozen times until Kyle corrected me. But we thank you so much for coming out, and we'd like to hear more, or hear from you. We'll hear from you, I'm sure, next over the holiday season after you've recorded 27 saves.
That's right.
And, no pressure. No, we're excited for you. It's always great to be able to watch folks progress, and it's a journey. I mean, it's not an easy process. You can get to a certain level. Now you got to get over the hump and get the right opportunity.
Stay there, the 27 saves would be nice, but let's just bring that pennant, NL West pennant, back to Dodger Stadium.
Right.
Sounds like a team player.
Right there. I'd love to have a float going through downtown LA this year.
Yeah,
so
that'd be good. All right,
those fans.
Josh, thanks again so much. All right, we're going to come back in a couple of minutes. We'll bring on Jim Vruggink, who will talk about another philanthropic program with the National Football Foundation as we wind down our first show of 2012 on Gold&Black Live.
Just one night. One team victorious. The story behind the score. The rivalries. The big plays. From the sidelines to you. On the air, online. Are you ready for the frenzy? Friday Night Frenzy. High school football from where you live.
Check out the Purdue collection now at Follett's. Boiler up with Nike Fantastic T-shirts, League and Champion fashion colors. Simply fabulous, simply Follett's. Purdue pride everywhere on game day. Nike sideline, worn by the team, by the players, and by you. And make every day game day with tailgate toss. Follett's, Purdue pride, a Purdue tradition, 17 game day locations.
West Point Steakhouse is a family-owned restaurant known for premium quality steaks. Open for dinner Thursday through Saturday. Stop by for the Thursday night prime rib special or Friday and Saturday night specials like pasta and seafood. Be sure to come and enjoy all the food and fun at West Point Steakhouse.
You can now get a quote or buy car insurance 24 hours a day. Call me, State Farm Agent Trent Johnson, at 743-9595 and see how much money you can save today.
Going to the Purdue game? Stay at Hilton Garden Inn, West Lafayette at the Wabash Landing. Your family will love the well-appointed guest rooms, the pool, whirlpool, fitness center, the breakfast buffet, and the amazing Hilton Garden Inn staff. Located just 4 blocks from Purdue University, Hilton Garden Inn has long been the choice for Purdue fans. Call today for a reservation and make Hilton Garden Inn your #1 choice.
When you see it happen, report it. Send us your news stories, photos, and videos with our Report It feature. It's easy with WLFI.com and the WLFI smartphone app. With a few simple clicks, you can send videos and photos of breaking news coverage. See your submissions on air as part of our broadcast or online in the Report It gallery. WLFI.com. Always mobile, always connected.
Welcome back, segment 3, Gold&Black Live. We are joined by Jim Vruggink, Kyle Charters. We have graphics so you can read, and I quit doing that. My biggest fear in life is that Kyle's going to break down my skills. And they only do that when I'm not around, the weeks that I don't do a show. So that's okay as well. I haven't gone back and watched any of those old ones. Jim, welcome to the show. And Jim, obviously your day job is with special projects at Purdue. A long-time athletic public relations, sports information person, and still doing a lot of that role. But obviously, your role with the National Football Foundation has been as executive director of the Tiller chapter. You know, I always say the biggest event of the year is the one you put on, at least in terms of sports in this community, and that is when what do we call it? The Legends Dinner in June. And all that, but we got now another big event coming up here with bowling with the bowl team, so to speak, and of course we're talking Purdue's football team will be involved with the National Football Foundation event.
Right, seniors.
Seniors, right? We can't use the that's right. We'll get in trouble.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it should be a fun event. This is the second year that we've done a bowling event, and the first one we probably didn't have exactly the right timing for it. So we didn't. It wasn't as successful as we would have liked. Hopefully, this coming not this Monday night, but the following Monday night, January 16th, at Arrowhead Lanes, and we're hoping to raise a good bit of money for 4 different charities here in the area. And you know, our own scholarship fund is one of those charities, and then we also raise money for the 12th Boiler Fund, which helps to endow a Purdue football scholarship. And we're tying in with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes through Kurt Lichtenberg, who's one of the senior players on the team, who's very involved with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and with a project that they're doing in Haiti for an orphanage, helping to support an orphanage, building of an orphanage in Haiti. And then also the Dream Season, which is an organization here in the community which provides football opportunities, experiential kind of opportunities for people with special needs. And we kind of cover a lot of different bases there, but all of them good causes, and we're hoping that we'll have a real good turnout on a week from Monday night to help have some fun and to raise some money for those good causes. So.
Jim, I know this has become a passion of yours. I would imagine it's become a little bit of a monster too, right? Because you have to keep outdoing yourself with these events.
It's really impossible this year at the football.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
you've put together so many, as Alan said, great events, with the honors dinners and others that it seems nearly impossible to do it as well the next year, right?
Well, I appreciate that, and it has been a challenge, but right from the start, I mean, when we decided to start a chapter here, it was basically Joe Tiller who said we need to have a chapter here of the National Football Foundation, just for a lot of good reasons. And so I got behind it. Well, I wasn't going to do that unless I knew I had the support of Joe Tiller, which I did, right from the start. He was out front helping to encourage people to get involved, to become members. And then, a tremendous part of our success has been getting Drew Brees involved. And he's been part of that dinner in June every year for the first 7 years. All indications are is that he'll be involved again this year, the 8th year. We don't know when the event's going to be. We know it'll be in the latter part of June, and we're just kind of waiting to hear back from Drew and his people to tell us when he will be here. So, I know a lot of people are out there. I get a lot of questions. When's the dinner going to be this year? Well, I want the Saints to keep winning. I'd like to see Drew get to the Super Bowl again, but that's going to delay him making a decision on when he'll come back to Lafayette too. So, but anyway, that all has come together very nicely, and we've gotten a lot of great cooperation from people in the community, the business community, university community, and it's really been a matter of engaging people that I've gotten to know through almost 30 years here in the community, and having positive responses from a lot of people who can help get things done, like Alan. We have a great board, people with a lot of good ideas that are very supportive, and encourage me to kind of step out and do it again.
And for those of you that may not know, I mean, it's been 2 years ago, it was the Super Bowl champion quarterbacks. Of course, the year after Drew won the title with the Saints, but you had Len Dawson and Bob Greasy, and really, if you're a Purdue football fan, one of the most memorable nights, probably one of the most memorable covers we've had of our magazine when we had those three guys on the cover. It was a great night. And then, of course, last year, bringing in the astronauts and with Neil Armstrong and David Wolf and Gene Cernan was just it was Jerry Ross.
Jerry
Ross, not David Wolf, and
Gene Cernan.
Right. And Gene Cernan obviously was just an unbelievable night, and yet Drew Brees is kind of the guy that ties that all together. And we were talking about when Josh in the last segment about the fact that these guys have a desire to give back. Drew Brees, it's just his legacy is forever entrenched in this community, no matter what he ends up doing for the next 50, 60 years of his life. Lafayette, Indiana, West Lafayette's always going to be a part of it.
You're right. And let me say this about Drew. I've been friends with Drew ever since he was a sophomore player here at Purdue, but what he's been able to do and what his commitment to helping the community really has become a role model for plans that we're putting in place for other athletes. I work now with David Wilson in the trademark licensing office, and we have made arrangements or made presentations to several of our other athletes, some who already have contracts in place to do this, but to kind of use what Drew has done as a role model and to say, okay, this can be done many times over, and helping in different areas. Ryan Kerrigan is another prime example. And he will come back in April to help us put on a golf event, and the proceeds of that will go to the PALS program as well as to the NFF and to his favorite charities. And we're utilizing that. We're also in the final stages of working out something with Brian Cardinal on a similar thing. And so there are programs like that can be beneficial throughout the community that the former athlete, alumni athlete can get involved in and really benefit his image, as well as getting some things done in the community.
Yeah.
And it's a way for them to get involved without having to make a big financial commitment. But we provide the means for an event to happen and to take it through the next step.
And you've had that event, the annual event in June, but there's a lot more that goes into that. There's other events, and it really benefits also the scholarship side. High school athletes, there've been that's been a big part of it as well. Talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, and that really is a huge part of it, because the NFF, the National Football Foundation, requires you, in order to be a chapter, you are expected to and required to provide scholarships to high school kids who are going on to college. And so we have our Scholar Athlete program. Our area, our region now covers 18 counties, from Lafayette North all the way to Lake Michigan. 73 high schools that play football in that area, and we allow the coaches and athletic directors and principals to nominate their top kid from their school, their top scholar athlete, it's football, it's top scholar athlete who plays football. And so far now, through 7 years, we've awarded scholarship to 122 kids at a total of $131,000 of scholarship help. So I feel good about that, and the whole community should feel good, because in bits and pieces there are a lot of people that are contributing to that by buying tickets to our events, by providing scholarships or by sponsorships and partnerships, and by buying tickets to some of the other events that we do, like this golf outing. We did a concert back in November, Levi Riggs,
right.
at the Long Center. A lot of the golf event. So there are things scattered throughout the year that we tie in the entire opportunity to help raise money for very good causes, including the scholarship fund.
And your scholarship athletes have gone on to represent not only a chapter, the community very well,
certainly
at their respective universities and at the national level too.
We've been very fortunate right here, obviously just here in West Lafayette, with two of our high school kids from here, Daniel Wadika and Matt Lancaster, both won the regional Scholar Athlete of the Year award, which there's only 5 of those awarded each year throughout the country. And so we've had two of the last 3 years, we've had one of those winners. And to have 2 years in a row from the same high school is really quite remarkable.
Both those guys are making a mark in college football. Wadika obviously had a very good year at Johns Hopkins, and Matt Lancaster transferred from Illinois State to Butler and will be eligible next year after redshirting this year. So these are guys that are not only top-notch guys, but very good football players as well. You look at this, and one of the things that's interesting has been we all of us will say, well, Kyle is a little bit closer in age, but these younger people that really feel the need to give back, and you're seeing that. I think, Drew Brees had this idea, I think, right after he's got the starting job against USC in 1998. This has been kind of his long-term plan of, if I make it to this level, no matter what level I make it to, I'm going to give back, and that's a very unique thing.
It is, and the positives that are experienced from that, I think, are just endless. I thought it was such a neat thing the year that Daniel Wadika won the award. Drew Brees was in the audience, and during the little interview after he won the award, Daniel Wadika said, well, that's my role model right there. He pointed at Drew. He says, that's why I do what I do, because of what Drew is. I thought, wow, that to me made the whole thing that we do rewarding. It made it worthwhile, because here's, I guess you could say, the next generation of athlete gaining from what the Drew Breeses of the world are passing on to the next decade, and to have people like that carry that forward and to maybe provide an avenue for that is very rewarding.
Yeah, it's a great community event. Now, again, January 16th, and it's actually the actual name of the event is.
We're calling it Bowling with the Bowl Team.
Okay.
And we'll have about 16 to 20 former Boiler players. Most of which are from the current team, or the team that just won the bowl game up in Detroit. We'll also have some alumni players from the area that'll take part. We'll have 2 sessions, a 6:30 session and a 9 o'clock session for people that want to come and bowl. The cost is $40 per person, or $150 for a team. That covers all your expenses, bowling expenses, provides snacks, beverages. We'll have some games going on during the bowling. A lot of good socializing to take place and just a fun night. So, and also the satisfaction of knowing that you're doing something good in the community. Obviously, the 16th of January is Martin Luther King's birthday. So from a university standpoint, from a community standpoint, it's a day in service. And so we're hoping everybody kind of grasps that idea and takes part in this event.
All right, Jim, thank you. We'll have more. We'll put a link on our site next week, so more information, and so that you can participate if you so desire. And they also take contributions, and they take memberships to the Joe Tiller chapter. They're not all in Lafayette and West Lafayette, Indiana. They're members all spread throughout the country, and one of the largest chapters of its kind in the United States. And that's a lot testament to the job Jim has done, and to Joe Vruggink, Joe Tiller, and also the late Bernie Flowers. God love Bernie. What a great job he's done. All right, we are through show number 1. Kyle, Jim, thanks so much for joining us. And Kyle didn't have any choice, but Jim did. Jim did it willfully. But no, we appreciate that. We'll look forward to next Friday, which we'll have a guest, TBD or TBA or whatever we'll have. And we are working also on getting Chris Kramer here in the next couple of weeks when he's back in the country. We'll have some exciting and fun things to talk about, I'm sure. To our sponsors, Hilton Garden Inn, State Farm agent Trent Johnson, West Point Steakhouse, and of course Follett's. We thank you, and we'll look forward to talking more about Purdue sports. And what will always be, I'm sure will be an interesting week in Purdue sports as the Boilermaker football tries to keep its recruiting class and sign a class here in the next few weeks, but also obviously the men's and women's basketball team continue to make their way through the Big Ten schedule. So we'll see you next week on Gold and Black Live.